Hey, how you doing? This is your boy Brogi Naric back again with another episode of Brogi Naric on Films. I'm here with my brother Wes.
What's up?
He's joining me today. We're going to be reviewing
Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, directed by Quentin Tarantino.
The ninth film from Quentin Tarantino. If you want a non-spoiler review, you can check it out on Instagram, IGTV page. And before we get into it, I'm going to give you my grade, well, our grades of the Once Upon a Time in Hollywood movie. Yeah. Pick one.
Shit, I'll give it an A+.
A+?
Yeah.
A+? Okay,
yeah.
so like a 10 out of 10, A+. All right, That's good. I'm in the range of, I'm going to give it a B-. But, okay, so now you have our grades. Let's talk about this film. So, like I said, we really enjoyed this. I just had a couple of hangups. I love the 80s. It's always 80s. I love the 60s. I love the 60s stuff, especially the opening. What was it, Bounty Law? Where he's like on this old Western TV show, and it's like him getting the interview on the set.
Yeah.
He's got the commercial. Like they got like the TV promo commercial. It wasn't just the commercial. It was like the 60s TV promo commercial, which I thought was pretty funny. Like they did that a couple of times. It was very thorough. I was like, I'm watching TV Land right now. Like holy shit. Like it was. I like that stuff. What's some other things?
Speaking of that, I like how when they would show like Rick Dalton's other films that he eventually does. I love how they did the grainy shit with the Italian films.
That was good. That was scary. That scene when he's talking to who was he talking to? He was on set, with Timothy Olyphant. When he was on set with Timothy Olyphant, he was like, I heard you got the role for Steve McQueen's role. Almost had Steve McQueen's role.
Oh, yeah. And, that was crazy.
That was crazy how they CGI'd him in Steve McQueen's role.
It was weird.
It got me scared because I'm like, oh my God, if they start doing this bullshit where they just like take modern actors and put them in old movies, I was just like, I don't want that to happen.
Charlize Theron is Scarlett O'Hara.
Yeah. Gone with the Wind. Yeah, Ben Affleck and Charlize Theron and Gone with the Wind.
Ben Affleck.
Yeah, it'd be some crazy shit like that. I don't know. But it got me weird. I was like, oh God.
Ben Affleck
I was like, don't let's, yeah, exactly.
Oh, Jesus.
But that was really good. There was a lot of stuff when they had him in the old movies and shows, especially when what was the FBI, when he was, that whole sequence, that was really cool.
That was really good.
I was like, damn, Leonardo DiCaprio would have been a dope-ass 60s actor. He would have been the shit in the 60s. We didn't talk about him.
Yeah, you're right. He would have been the shit.
Yeah.
He would have been the shit.
He would have been the shit. But we didn't talk about him in spoiler review. But Bruce Lee is in this movie. I liked him for the little bit that he was in. I know that kind of annoyed you a little bit.
It didn't annoy me at all.
Oh, it didn't? Okay.
No.
Yes. Oh, Mike Moe, I think that's how you say it. Mike Moe played Bruce Lee. He did a fantastic job for the little scenes that he had. He was dope.
Damn IMBD.
Yeah,
where is he, like, way at the end?
Yeah. What? Damian Lewis was Steve McQueen, which he looks nothing like Steve McQueen. I don't think he even sounded like Steve McQueen, but that was interesting that he was there.
He didn't.
He didn't look nothing like Steve McQueen. They could have had Leonardo DiCaprio and he would have been Steve McQueen. He looked more like Steve McQueen, fucking Damian Lewis. That was weird. So I'm sitting there, I'm like, is that the dude from Homeland?
Mom's Mabley looks more like Steve McQueen.
Yeah, it really does. But anyway, so you got, this is all over the place.
Yeah, this movie is huge.
This movie is a long movie.
It's not just long, it's really fucking involved.
And it's rambling, which is one of my problems. It kind of rambles a bit. It does, because it's like I said, okay, the stuff with them driving around the town, it looks pretty, but then you got, okay, how many shots of Brad Pitt do we need of him driving down L.A.? How many shots of Sharon Tate sitting watching a movie? Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. So the title is Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
It is.
So
this is an alternate storytelling of the Manson murders, basically.
Right. But at the same time, you get the cars, you get the scenery, you get a lot of fucking music.
Yes,
this is probably more music than he's ever had in one single movie.
Yeah, it is.
Which made it feel more realistic to me because of the whole car sequence stuff.
Okay.
While people were listening to the radio.
Yeah.
So I take it as it wasn't just, it was more of like a slice of life kind of thing.
It was.
More so than a lot of his other films. And he was saying big helping of
it was a big ass slice. I'm like, can we get to when the fuck they about to kill this woman, or what are we doing? Or can we, because it was dragging on. I'm like, all right, this is cool, but it's like, if it's not Rick Dalton, and then there's certain scenes where it's just Rick Dalton acting a fool. Like, he's great on screen, but there was a couple of scenes I'm like, okay, you could have cut that down too, but it's like him and his job. Oh, like the scene with him and the little girl. I like that.
Awesome.
That played off, because I was getting a little annoyed. I was like, okay, this girl is like, okay, so he's on set for this, was that a movie or a show?
That was a movie.
That was a movie. He's on the set for this Western, and it's this little girl that's his co-star, and she's like super fucking smart. And he's talking to her like she's a little kid, and she's 8, and she's asking him these very adult questions, and he doesn't quite know how to respond, and he's really at his lowest, kind of one of his lowest peaks right now, because he feels like a
washed up
actor. So it was nice, the scene they had when she's kind of motivating him a little bit, just a little bit, but then he does his scene with Timothy Oliphant, and it's like this drawn out scene. And then you realize, okay, he's actually filming the movie, and he fucks up his line, so he has to do it again. Then he fucks it up again, and he does it again, and then it's like the whole scene with him in the trailer where he's just like, you piece of shit, you fucking it up and making a fool of yourself.
That was great.
Great. That whole thing when he's in the mirror, but like the mirror is facing the camera, and he's like, if you don't get your laughs right, I'm gonna come back here and blow your fucking head off, and there's gonna be brains in this fucking trailer if you don't get your life together. Like, great stuff. You're gonna stop drinking. He's like, you're gonna stop fucking drinking right now. Immediately gets his flask, and he's like, oh fuck, and he throws it out. Great stuff. Then he goes back on set, kills it. Fucking kills it. He has that awesome acting scene. It reminded me of him in Django when that whole scene
where he cuts his hand.
Yeah, when he cuts his hand in real life, because he was into it.
Going.
He was into it. Man, Caprio's great. And he throws the girl down, and then it was all part of the thing. He kills the role, and the girl's like, that's the best acting I've seen in my life, and he breaks down.
Here's the thought about that.
He kills it, that scene. So
what can't Leonardo DiCaprio
What can't he do? Okay, so Brad Pitt's character, Cliff Booth. Okay, I said it
John
to you.
Wilkes who?
Yeah, John Wilkes. John Wilkes who? So
Bruce Dern is the shit too.
Bruce Dern is great, but remember I said it to you. He looked like a handsomer young version of David Carradine, which I'm pretty sure that's what he was going for.
Yeah, I think
and he was awesome. And I didn't know what to expect with his character. His character was a lot more complex than I thought he was going to be. I thought he was just going to be dude bro that is hanging out with his actor friend. But you find out when Kurt Russell comes in playing, he was a stuntman on the movie.
He wasn't Stuntman Mike.
No, I know a lot of people like, oh, he's playing Stuntman Mike's brother.
No.
Or he's playing Stuntman Mike's dad. I'm like, he's not.
No, he's not.
Randy. Okay, he plays. He's the head stunt coordinator named Randy, and he has heat. He has heat with Brad Pitt because he doesn't like Brad Pitt's character, and Brad Pitt is basically the assistant to Rick Dalton, to Leonardo DiCaprio. He's driving him around because Leonardo DiCaprio had too many DUIs and got his license taken. So he's now driving him around. And they're on the set of the movie. He's like, look, Randy's running it. He doesn't really like you, so I don't really think it's going to be easy to get you a job. But because they're bros, he talks to Randy and tries to get him a job. And then you find out, Randy's like, I don't really like this guy, and I don't like the vibe he brings to the set. And it's like, oh, y'all had some beef? And he's like, well, it's more the fact that he killed his wife and got away with it. And you're like, that was immediately, when that happened, you can hear the theater like, whoa. Because that whole point, to that point, everyone's like, Brad Pitt is dope. And then you find out he killed his wife, and it's like, wait, what? He did what? And you're kind of like, is this real? And then you see a scene. They never confirm.
They leave you hanging with it.
They never confirmed if he kills his wife because he was on the boat with his wife and she was talking shit.
She was talking mad shit.
And he had a harpoon gun.
Abusive shit.
Yeah, and he had a harpoon gun pointed at her ass and they just cut it right there. And I'm like, oh, did he kill his wife? He's like ex-military. He was like a war hero, I'm assuming Korea. Maybe Vietnam, but judging by his age, I would assume he fought in the Korean War. But it wouldn't be World War II. He's too old.
I do have to say, though, my favorite cameo...
Yo, there's a lot of cameos in this movie. Holy hell.
My favorite cameo was Zoe Bell.
Yeah, that's right. So he has heat with Randy, and then Randy's wife, who's played by Zoe Bell, also has heat with him because he killed his wife and got away with it. And Zoe Bell is playing
Randy's wife.
Kurt Russell's wife. And Zoe Bell is stunt woman / actress. She did the stunts for Uma Thurman in Kill Bill. She was also a character in Death Proof, who she basically played herself.
Second part of Death Proof.
Yeah, the second part of Death Proof. So that was an awesome scene. So
Zoe the cat.
Then we have this weird scene where Bruce Lee is talking about how badass he is.
Which
he's on set. Okay,
Go ahead.
He's
No,
on
go
set
ahead.
as Kato. And he's like, I'm the shit, and I love guys who are the shit. I love Muhammad Ali. I love Sonny Liston. I love Joe Louis. They're the shit. And he's just talking about like, I love people who are legit at fighting. And Brad Pitt's kind of like, whatever. And so him and Brad Pitt get into a fight. Well, Brad Pitt is playing them, and then Bruce Lee is like, do you want to fight? And they get into like a little quick spar. So they get into a fight, and Bruce Lee, lands a kick on him, and Brad Pitt's like, all right, a real good kick. And then he's like, all right, let's do that again. Bruce Lee tries to do the kick again, but he grabs him and throws him into the side of his car.
Judos his ass into the side of a car.
And
I'm like...
Yeah, I'm like, wait a second. Brad Pitt just did that to Bruce Lee?
I'm like, wait a
suspect.
minute. What?
So basically, they get into this fight, then they stop. Because Randy's wife sees it, and she's like, what the? First of all, why are you on set? Because I don't like you. Because Randy doesn't tell his wife that he's on set. And two, you're beating up the star of this scene, because they're shooting Green Hornet at the time. And three, you fucked up the prop by throwing... Oh, no, not the prop.
No, not the prop.
You fucked up my car because the car you threw him into was my car. You dented the side.
Yeah.
So get the fuck off set. And then it was a weird scene because that was when he was working on the antenna. So I'm like, is that something that happened in the past? Or was that him thinking what would happen if he did get the job on set? He would end up fighting Bruce Lee. Because it's weird. It was a weird scene.
It tricks you. It tricks you until you get to the end of that particular scene, because then you realize, well, for me, what gave it away was the fact that Bruce Lee was not an arrogant prick.
Yeah.
One. Two, the fact that someone actually got the jump on Bruce Lee like that.
Yeah.
Suspect.
That's what I'm like, okay, random white guy just got to jump on Bruce Lee like that? I ain't buying that shit. Stop it. That's fantasy.
To his credit,
That's fantasy.
though, I thought about this for a minute, and I was like, all right, Brad Pitt, his character is going toe-to-toe with the guy that's playing Bruce Lee.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
So Brad Pitt is the star of the movie.
Okay.
How is this going to play out?
That too.
It's a stalemate.
It's a fantasy. Yeah, it was a stalemate. Yeah, because he's like,
total stalemate.
Yeah, that's right. Because Zoe was like, you're on here kicking the star of the show's ass, and Bruce Lee was like, wait a second,
what?
wait a second,
kicking my ass.
He's like, wait a second, I did not get my ass kicked. Hold on, let's get that straight. I thought that was funny. That was pretty funny. And he pops up because the reason Bruce Lee's in this because wasn't he Neighbors as well?
No.
Oh, he was just friends with Sharon Tate.
He was friends with Sharon Tate.
Okay.
I think they had actually dated for a hot second.
Makes sense.
Probably. But he also was her
he was a trainer on the movie, yeah. The movie.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure if he was just training her for the movie or if she was like
getting lessons on the side.
Dojo.
Well, I know he was the stunt. Okay, so there's a scene where she's watching the Matt Helm movie. He was the stunt coordinator for that film. So when they had that scene with her doing the stunt and then them showing her training him, that is based in real life. This is not just him like, oh, I want Bruce Lee in this movie because 60. It's like, no. There is a reason for it. No, I'm just letting people know if they're wondering. Meanwhile, there's these random hippie girls who's part of the Manson family. And Brad Pitt, every time he's driving around town, he keeps seeing this one chick who is always trying to say, hey, can I go this way? And he's like, bitch, I'm doing my job. I can't do that. So one day he picks her up. They're conveniently going in the same direction. She's going to this old ranch with Spawn Ranch, which was
by George Spawn.
Okay.
Which is historically correct.
That is legit. And he used to work there.
Manson family hung out.
Right. He used to work there. So he's like, all right, I'll take you there. And that was a funny scene where she's in the car, they're just driving, and she's just out of nowhere. It's like, hey,
you want some roadhead?
Yeah, she's like, can I suck your dick? And he's like, first of all, how old are you? And she's like,
I was worried about that. I was like, is Brad Pitt going to play a child molester?
No, he's not. He's like, look, he's already playing a wife murderer. He's not about to play a child molester as well.
How grimy does Brad Pitt get in this movie?
Right, so Brad Pitt's like, how old are you? And she's like, I'm old enough to fuck you. And he's like, I'm going to need some ID to prove that you're 18. And she was like, when she said I'm old enough to fuck you, he's like, okay, so that's basically you don't have it, so I'm not fucking with you. And she's like, oh, you scared? He's like, well, I'm just old enough. He's like, I'm just old enough not to go to get locked up for some poontang. And like everybody in the audience was like, yes. I think every man in the audience was like, yes.
And the way he delivered that line,
it was amazing.
It was just
he delivered it because I know that's something he's said before in his life.
Oh, of course.
I'm pretty sure he said that line in his life. I'm not going to jail for some underage poontang. So he drops her off. And you see all the weird Manson women and a couple of the guys. And there's this one girl who's in the room of this house. You can't see her. But she's telling one girl to keep an eye on him. So he's going around talking to the other people.
She would be Squeaky Frome.
That's an actual person?
Yeah.
Squeaky is an actual
Squeaky
person?
Squeaky was Charles. Well, I mean, all of them were technically Charles Manson's girlfriends.
Right.
Squeaky Frome was like the head bitch in charge.
Okay, so she was played by Dakota Fanning, who was
great.
Creepy. She was super
great.
creepy. I forgot she was in this film, but she was super creepy.
She was great.
And Brad Pitt knows the guy who owns the ranch, and he wants to go talk to him, and everyone's weird about it. She's weird about it, but eventually he gets to see him. George.
She wasn't just weird about it.
I mean, she was. She was very intense about, like, well, he's asleep, he's blind. Oh, you know him, but it's been 8 years now. You want to talk to him? Like, she was all up in his shit. So basically, he gets back.
He's taking a nap because I fucked the shit out of him.
Yeah, that was. And then when you see it's Bruce Dern, I'm like, oh great, now I got to think of Bruce Dern and Dakota Fanning.
Hey, you know, everybody has needs.
But true. But when I think Dakota Fanning, I think little girl from movies. I forget she's adult now. Anyway, so he talks to him. Then he leaves, and then there's this awesome scene where he's leaving. Well, it was kind of creepy. And they're just women, but they were just how they were like a bunch of crows watching him.
That's what they were like.
Yeah, that was
in
creepy.
real life. That's what they were like.
That was creepy. So he goes back to his car. Well, it's not his car. It's Rick's car. Tire's flat. And
his tire was fucking...
Well, it got stabbed. It got slashed. And there's this inbred fucker sitting there laughing at him. And Brad Pitt looks at him. He's like, did you do this? And the guy's like, and he's like, okay, well, luckily I got my owner... owner of the car got a spare. He pulls out the spare, tells the guy, fix my flat. And the guy's like, fuck you. Brad Pitt walks over there, knocks the shit out of him, breaks his nose, knocks the shit out of him again and again, fix my fucking tire. So guys, getting bitch made in front of the women.
Here's the thing, though, about that scene.
What?
When the women started to descend on him, he was like, "No, I will fuck y'all up too."
No, he said he will fuck. He didn't say that.
Oh,
he said,
that's right. That's right.
He's out, knock his teeth out.
My bad.
Yeah, he didn't snap on the way. I was waiting for that.
I thought he was going to.
No. I was waiting for him to do it, but he didn't. He was like, "I'll just knock his teeth out." So they backed off. They get the other dude, Tex. And is he a real guy or?
Yes.
He is? Okay. He is. So he comes in, but by the time he gets there, because they're horse riding with some people, Brad Pitt's gone. So then I think that led to the movie. So basically, so after that happens, that leads to Rick Dalton going to Italy
to film spaghetti westerns.
He filmed spaghetti westerns and a spy movie, which was hilarious.
Yeah.
And for 9 months, because it's still February. So in that 9 months, he's filmed 4 movies. Mm-hmm. He gets married to one of his co-stars.
Right.
And he gains 15 pounds. They also mentioned he's gained 15 pounds.
And during this time, Sharon Tate has been pregnant for a couple of months now. So she's 8 months pregnant at this point.
Right. So Sharon Tate is pregnant. So he goes to Italy, and then they're going to come back. And the money, he made money, but he also wasted some of it. But he doesn't have enough, with his wife, he doesn't have enough money to keep paying Cliff. So they're going to basically break up by the time when they get back. So they're going to have this big bro night of them celebrating their bromance or their business relationship. Then they're going to split apart. So we see Sharon Tate and her friends. They're hanging out at a Mexican restaurant. Rick and Cliff getting drunk at an
Italian restaurant, I think, right?
No, it was Mexican. It was just you went to the bathroom. It was a different Mexican restaurant.
I had to go pee.
I don't know. So they get back to the house, and they move back into Rick's original house. They're still drunk, and Brad Pitt, I think earlier before they left to the restaurant, he mentions how he had this acid cigarette from one of the hippies.
Right.
And he saves it. So they're back they've been drinking, and they're like, hey, Rick Dalton, he was drunk. He's like, I'm going to make some margaritas. So he's going to make some margaritas. Brad Pitt decides to go walk his dog because he has this, what was it, a pit bull?
It was a beautiful pit bull.
Had a pit bull named...
Makes me want a pit bull.
What was the pit bull's name?
I don't remember. It was Brandy.
Brandy, that's what it was. It was Brandy. So...
Because that was the color of her coat.
Yeah, actually. He goes to walk the dog and he smokes the acid cigarette. So he's tripping on acid and smoking the cigarette. So he goes to walk in the neighborhood. Rick is trying to make his margaritas. Then this loud ass, I don't know, what was it, Chevrolet pulls up in the neighborhood.
It looked like, this is what, it looked like the Ghostbusters.
Yeah, it was,
car.
okay. So the Ghostbusters ambulance pulls up with this horrible muffler that's making a lot of noise. And Rick is pissed off because he lives on a private road and he's got a hangover. So he goes outside and he's like, hey, He sees the hippies. He's like, "Hey, look, you fucking hippies, get the fuck out of my neighborhood with that loud."
For filth.
Yeah, he snaps on them.
Asses out.
He snaps the fuck up. So these are the Manson family. They're coming to kill Sharon Tate and her friends, which we see her friends doing their thing.
Historical note.
Yeah, okay, historical note.
They didn't know who they were killing.
Well, they knew they were coming, who was in the house. Because they'd say, Charlie told us to kill whoever is in the house of the people that used to live there. They didn't
exactly know that Sharon Tate and her friends were there.
Okay, granted, that's true.
Because the house was previously owned by
people they knew.
One of the Beach Boys.
Oh, was it?
Dennis Wilson.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because they did say, because Charles Manson only pops up twice in this movie? Was it just that one scene?
That one time.
That one time he popped up. Oh, I could have sworn it was 2 scenes. Okay, so it was just one scene where he goes there and he's like, "Oh, so-and-so used to live here."
I'm looking for Terry.
Yeah, and they're like, "Oh, they don't live here no more." He's like, "Oh, okay." And then he's like, "Peace out." That's the only time you see him, which I was surprised by.
Actually, let me double check that, because I really do think that was Dennis Wilson's house there.
Well, Rick Dalton snaps on him, so they drive down. He's like, they're stalling. He's like snapping at the one girl who's a ginger, and he's just snapping on everybody. So they pull back down. And then they stop. There's 4 people in the car, and one of the girls is
Uma Thurman's daughter.
Uma Thurman, Ethan Hawke's daughter from Stranger Things, Robin in Stranger Things 3, which was nice to see her. So they're sitting in the car, and they're like, "Wait a second." One of them's like, "That guy was Rick Dalton, you know, that guy from the TV show in the 50s." And they're like, "Oh shit, Rick Dalton was awesome. Yeah, let's kill him." So, because the Asian girl was like, she was on some crazy shit. She was like, "Well, you know, we all grew up on TV," which I thought this was an interesting commentary that, of all people, Quentin Tarantino had this in his movie. And the girl's like, "Well, we all grew up on television, and if it was a show that wasn't I Love Lucy, it showed murder. So we should murder the people that taught us about murder." I thought that was very profound and crazy, because Tarantino does a lot of grindhouse and violent films. For him to have a character who's like, "Well, we were raised on violence, so let's reflect that back on society, on the people who taught us violence, which is people in Hollywood." That was weird. I got chills. I got chills in that scene.
That was also, I believe, part of the reasoning behind
the Manson killers. The motivation. Okay, so yeah. So instead of killing Sharon Tate's house, they go to Rick Dalton's house.
Also,
yeah.
Historical side note. The murder took place because Charles Manson wanted to start a race war.
Yeah, he wanted to start a race war. Blame the Black Panthers for, yeah. They didn't really get into that, which I was kind of surprised they didn't go that way.
I didn't either. I mean, I am too.
Yeah, I was surprised they didn't get into that either, but I guess since Manson's not really in the movie, they didn't really... This is probably the least blaxploitative of his movies, now that I think about it. It is. Because he always has that blaxploitation vibe in most of his movies. I think this is about the least.
It's referenced. You haven't seen Jackie Brown.
I mean, he references Jackie Brown, but I don't count that as legit blaxploitation. This is like his...
What, Jackie Brown?
Yeah, that's his version of blaxploitation. I mean, like, when he has that style in his movies, he didn't have it in this one. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it was...
That's what I'm saying. It wasn't... Yeah, but so... that was one thing that was missing.
That Bill Cosby scene at the Playboy.
that was my joke. That was a joke. Okay,
that was a good joke, though.
So they go to the...
Because it did kind of look like him.
So they go to the Playboy Mansion at a point, and it's like all these celebrities at it, and there's this one black guy there with a fro, and the woman he's with. Granted, she wasn't light-skinned, so it probably wasn't Camille, but I was like, okay, that's got to be Bill Cosby. Like, what am I supposed to think?
And you know what I was thinking?
Who was like,
it probably was Bill Cosby.
It's Bill Cosby hanging out at the time. Yeah.
That would make a lot of sense, because where else would he be able to drug a lot of girls?
Exactly. Anyway, so, well, he wasn't the only one drugging them, but anyway,
I went there.
He just got caught.
The difference is Bill got caught.
So anyway, they're rolling up to Rick Dalton's house. By this time, Brad Pitt's come back, and he's high as a kite. And Rick Dalton is in the pool with the radio and the headphones listening to some music, drunk. So Brad Pitt's high as shit trying to make the dog food for his dog, which they did it twice. They set this up with him with the big ass can and the gross dog food. Gross dog food. That was set up. So they bust into the two bust through the door, and the Asian girl comes through the back door. And Brad Pitt's kind of like, he's high, and he's like, is this actually happening right now? And they're like, yeah, the guy's got the gun, the girl's got knives. So Brad's like, wait a second, I recognize you those fucking hippies, and da-da-da. And he's like, I can't remember your name. And then he's like, it was something stupid. And then like the girl says his name Tex, and he's like, yeah, that's what it was. And he's like, no, I'm the devil, and I'm about to do the devil's work.
Yeah.
So the dog. So Brad's calming the dog down because the dog is about to snap. So he did the thing.
His dog attacks Tex.
The dog
who's holding a
Tex.
gun at his face.
The dog bites Tex in basically the
everywhere.
leg and then the dick, like rips his dick off.
Yeah.
So while the dog is attacking Tex, the Asian girl's about to run. Oh yeah, because the other girl got the wife from out of the back room.
Right.
So she's kind of around the wife. She's not really up on her, but she's kind of keeping her at bay. So the Asian girl's about to charge at Brad Pitt. Brad Pitt is still holding the big ass can of dog food. Beams it right at her fucking face.
Yeah.
Knocks her mouth and her nose.
Just breaks
busted.
everything.
And from that point on, she's just screaming hysterically. This little girl is just screaming hysterically. Rick's Italian wife kicks the redhead, right? No, punches
the redhead.
Punches the redhead and then runs into her room and locks the door. So then Brad gets the fighting with the redhead girl, and they tumble over the table, and he ends up getting the knife in his hip. And so the Asian girl is still screaming while all this is going. The dog is still biting the shit out of Tex, and then he sicks the dog off of Tex and gets it onto the Asian girl who's still screaming. So now the dog is biting her. Then the movie just gets even crazier. Brad Pitt snaps on the ginger girl, like he punches her like repeatedly, then takes her head and then starts
smashing it on a table.
No.
First,
he slams her head into the phone first.
Yes, he slams her head
into the phone on the wall, then on the table,
then the mantle of the fucking fireplace.
Caves her fucking head in, and I was like, what is happening right now? Like that, like the whole theater. But I was like, I usually don't get like thrown by violence, but seeing that, I was just like,
why did it throw you though? Like, what was it about it that threw you?
He's a big ass man. That was excessive force. It was just out of nowhere. It wasn't like she was a super threat to him, and for that, no.
Okay, time out. I'm sorry. Two bitches show up at your house.
I get that.
With fucking knives.
I get that.
And a dude with a fucking gun.
Oh yes.
Oh, I'm fucking somebody up if I have the chance. They came after me first.
She was done as soon as her head went into the phone. He just snapped on her. He snapped on her though. I was like, God.
But then again, I guess
he was high too.
He killed his wife.
That's what you said.
Acid.
That's right. You did say like, well, he did kill his wife. I'm like, okay, yeah.
I think he probably did kill his wife.
Yeah, he probably did kill his wife.
Here's the thing about that scene.
Okay, go.
The thing about that scene, it turned into Kill Bill 2.
It turned into Kill Bill 2
which I thought was great.
It went from zany period piece to
Kill Bill 2.
To Kill Bill 2 and fucking the end of
Django?
Not Django, the end of Hateful Eight. Remember how like it was all bloody and crazy?
Oh, yeah.
It turned into that. Which was fine in that movie because it built towards it. This just came the fuck out of nowhere.
Yeah,
because because all the action that happens, it's acted. It's not in real life.
So wait, is that what caught you off guard?
Yes, I think that's kind of what
just happened.
Because it happens, and then it's like, oh wait, this is not make believe. This is like legit happening right now. That kind of threw me off. But then the zaniness of it also raised it, where it's like, oh, he's like murdering the but then it gets crazy because the Asian girl runs outside through the door and Rick Dalton is in the pool and then he sees her and he's like, what the fuck is this?
No, she didn't just run out of a door. She went through a pane of glass.
Okay, she went through a pane glass door, falls into the pool. So Rick Dalton is like, what the hell?
And she's like got the fucking gun.
She still has the gun.
She's like shooting.
That's right, she's still shooting. That's also happening as she's screaming.
Wow.
She's still shooting. So Rick Dalton is like, okay, fuck this. He goes to his shed. Now earlier in the film, they established he worked on this World War II movie called
Fry the Nazis, basically.
No. The 14 Fingers of McCluskey, I think it was what it was called, right? Yeah. The 12 Fingers of McCluskey, where he plays this World War II action hero, and he used a flamethrower, which he
a blowtorch.
A flamethrower, which was legit. Apparently, he still kept that prop. He goes into his shed, pulls out the flamethrower,
walks out with the fucking flamethrower, and roasts her ass while she's in the pool.
Just roasts this bitch with a flamethrower, and I'm like, what the fuck is happening? The bitch already beat up and probably gonna drown in this pool because he just roasts the shit out of her.
She was punched in the face.
Nose broken.
No, I'm sorry. She got a big ass can of dog food.
Mauled to death by a dog.
Mauled by a dog.
and almost drowned.
Ran through a pane of glass.
And then roasted.
Into a fucking pool.
Yeah.
And then roasted.
And they show her body.
Like a fucking marshmallow.
Like a marshmallow. She was done. And then after that, the police show up and they explain what happened. You know, oh, these guys, these hippies came in, they tried to kill us. They attacked my wife. I roasted one with a flamethrower. And then it's like...
How often do you get to say that to
How often do you get to say that? Right.
I roasted my invaders with a
flamethrower. And then they leave. They're like, all right. They take Brad Pitt to the hospital, and he's like, all right, I'll see you when you get. I'll see you tomorrow. I'll see you tomorrow. So they leave, and then the people that in real life got murdered. One of the guys is there and looking at him. Yeah, Emil Hirsch, and he's like, hey, what happened next door? And he's like, well, some hippies came in and tried to kill us. My friend beat the shit out of one of them, and I roasted the bitch. It was awesome. And then, like, that's literally basically what he said. That's basically what he said. And then he's like, oh, well, you know, my friend Sharon Tate is luckily to be alive, and she's doing fine. She's on the thing. She's like, hey, what's happening down there? It's like, hey, Rick Dalton just roasted some people.
Are y'all okay?
Are y'all okay? Well, come next into my house. It's so nice to finally meet you. And so he goes into the house and they meet up, and
that's the end of the movie.
Then it says the thing, once upon a time
in Hollywood.
In Hollywood. So it's like, okay, this is alternate history, which was fine. But I was like, okay, I'm out. For me, I was still hung up on, is this in Tarantino's alternate history? Because he's done this before, especially with Inglourious Basterds, which was the first one.
And Django.
And then Django, where it's like, okay, this is an alternate telling of history. Is this the same universe? Because there wasn't anything that connected it to it until the post-credit scene, where it's Rick Dalton doing an ad for the Red Apple cigarettes, which is the consistent
confirmation that it's in his universe.
It's a consistent thing that is specifically his universe, because it's in all of his movies pretty much. I think it's in all of his movies. Red Apple. So the fact that when they brought that in, I felt safer. Like, okay, this is completely in his universe. This is him doing his own separate thing, which might rub some people the wrong way. I felt weird about it, but once that happened, I was more into it.
There was one other clue for me, earlier on in the film that confirmed that it was in his universe.
Which was?
Because I can't remember specifically what it was, and I'm going to see this movie again. I know I am. Right. I'm going to have to see it in the theater.
Oh, yeah, it'll grow on me again, I know.
But there was one...
All his movies
because
do that.
All of his ad placements are his own original ad placements, so he doesn't have to pay for ad placements.
Oh, okay.
So I think there was one other ad placement, and I was like, okay.
That did it for you? Okay.
Yeah, that's what told me it was in his universe.
Yeah, but that really saved the movie for me, because I was kind of like, man, I don't know, that was kind of weird. Like I know some people probably was offended by Django. I wasn't. I know some people probably offended by...
who was offended by Django?
A lot of people.
Who?
Some people...
No, who?
A lot of people, in general.
Who are a lot of people?
People I don't know, but were offended about you're doing a spaghetti western around slavery, or you're doing this revenge film around World War II. This was one of the few times where I was offended. I'm like, okay, this is a bit much when you're doing
Which one?
This movie was like, you're doing this weird telling on the murders of Sharon Tate. Like, that's kind of weird, but then when he did that, I'm like, okay, I feel a little bit safer about it. That was one of the few times I was actually offended. I'm like, that's... I don't know, man. That's a bit much. It's like, because it was based in reality. The others, you clearly know.
All the other things were based in reality as well, though.
But they were genre.
Quentin made the point.
But they were genre films.
This is a genre film.
By the end, yes. But
no, the whole thing is a genre film because it's a period piece.
It is that's not a, I mean...
It is its own genre.
I mean genre as in spaghetti western or action adventure or sci-fi. I mean genre like that, not non-fiction. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is more grounded. It's like, okay, so you got Pulp Fiction.
Made the
Pulp
argument.
Fiction is a crime drama.
Yes.
Same thing as Reservoir Dogs. It's grounded, but it's still genre. This one was more historical-ish.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
See what I'm saying?
But Quentin made the point of saying, at this point in time, Roman Polanski, Sharon Tate, all of the other victims from that particular murder, they're not alive. All of the
in this movie,
Polanski is still alive today. But what I'm getting at is, it's now a part of history, just like the Nazis were, just like slavery was.
Yeah.
So it's not safe.
Right.
It's not safe for interpretation anymore, from being interpreted
Yeah.
simply because it happened so recently comparatively to all of the other stuff.
True.
So it's free game.
I mean, I get it's free game, but that was the one where I was just like, ooh.
And I'm happy that he made the movie just for that reason, because the ending is a twist.
Yes.
In that a lot of people were like, oh shit, it's a Tarantino movie. What is he gonna like depict the murders?
Right.
Because that would be like, whoa.
Yeah, that's what I was worried about. But then he depicted murders, but it was differently. I'm like, okay, this is a fantasy now.
I was like, okay.
This is full on fantasy.
I was like, okay, now I understand what's happening.
Yeah.
And that is why it didn't shock me. It would have shocked me had he gone the route of recreating history, which is what a lot of people want to do.
Or worried about
if they want to make a movie about the Manson murders.
Which I didn't want that either, because I'm like, oh, that's right, she was pregnant at the time, and like, I didn't want that. So
I thought he was gonna go there for a minute.
Yeah, I
really did.
I didn't know what was going on, because I'm like, well, we built these other guys, so are we just gonna drop them and go to the actual thing? It's like, oh no, we're gonna still fuck around with the characters.
And now that we're talking about that specifically, that is the reason. That is one of the main reasons I appreciate the movie, because he kind of led me to believe that he was going into Sharon Tate's house to kill her with these characters.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
But it didn't happen.
Yeah. No, it definitely takes a crazy turn.
Yeah, which I appreciated.
I mean,
it made it all the more.
That was
it just,
that shit was wild.
Yeah.
But like I said, lovely film. I really enjoyed this.
Lovely
film.
It was a lovely affair.
The girl was roasted. Yeah, go check the movie out. See it for yourself. Make up your own opinions.
Yeah, it was
I enjoyed it. Now, if I had to rank, like I said, I think this is still on the lower end of my favorite Tarantino films. I got it right above Death Proof, which is like my least favorite of the ones that I've seen. Don't mean I hate Death Proof, but
I know.
I would kind of put this, like, because I don't know how often I would rewatch this one and enjoy myself, because I know I would still get bored at those certain scenes where I'm like, well, I'll probably just fast forward, which I don't like to do that during a Tarantino film, but it'll probably grow on me.
Blasphemy.
Yeah, because that's kind of how I felt about Kill Bill 2, but then like as more I watched it, it grew on me. You know, his movies always grow on me, because that was kind of not slow paced, but it you know, it's not as quick to the action as the first one was, but it's more it's more drawn out. But
it's supposed to be a spaghetti western.
Yeah.
Or
pretty much all
emulate a spaghetti western.
Which I thought that was funny when Rick Dalton's like, nobody gives a shit about Italian westerns, and I'm like, that's funny coming from the guy who's keeping them alive.
Yeah, really.
I thought that was kind of funny. That was our review for Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. I forgot the title of the movie for a second.
I was like, what? Which Quentin Tarantino?
Yeah, no, we're like,
we just watched.
We just talked all about all of them to a degree.
Yeah.
Which one we didn't mention?
What?
I think I'm trying to. Oh, we didn't mention Pulp Fiction, surprisingly.
Yeah, we did.
Did we?
It came up.
Did it?
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, so that's our review. Thanks for watching. Hit the like button. Share it. Subscribe. Check out other videos on the channel, and stay tuned for more videos. Peace.
And thanks for having me as a guest.
Oh yes, so this will not be the last time.
No.
How do we do a high five to a? Mega powers. Anyway, so yeah, thanks for watching. Peace.
Bye.
Finish this thought. I am a slave to
the booty.